Rana Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Rana Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhanari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhanari Yasodhanandana Bhajananaranjana Yasodhanandana Bhajananaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Rana Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Rana Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jam Vishnu Bhat Paramahamsa Parivraja His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaura Brahmananda Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. The wind is howling. So that's just crazy. Wow. Cold in Africa. Something inconceivable. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, entitled Lord Vishnu's Appearance in the Sacrificial Arena. Text number 21. Saadirajo Rachitanjalir Harim. Saadirajo Rachitanjalir Harim. Okay. Vilokitum nashkat ashru lochana. Vilokitum nashakad ashru lochana. Okay, pictures in between. Nakinchanovacha sabashpa viklavo. Nakinchanovacha sabashpa viklavo. Hrido paguhyamum adat vatstitaha. Hrido paguhyamum adat vatstitaha. Saadirajo rachitanjalir harim. Vilokitum nashakat ashrolochanaha. Nakinchanovacha sabashpa viklavo. Hrido paguhyamum adahad avastitaha. Saadirajo rachitanjalir harim. Vilokitum nashakad ashrolochanaha. Nakinchanovacha sabashpa viklavo. Hrido paguhyamum Adahat avastita. Adirajo lachatanjarir harim vilokitum nashakad ashrulochana na kinchano vacha sabashpa viklavo hrido paguhyamum adahad avastitaha. Saadirajo rachitanjalir harim ilokitam nashakad ashrulochanaha nakinchana vacha sabaspa viklavo hrido paguhyamum adadavastitaha. Saha He, Adirajaha, the original king, Rachita Anjali, with folded hands, Harim, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vilokitum, to look upon, Nam, not, Ashakat, was able, Ashrolochana, his eyes full of tears. Nam, not. Kinchana, anything. Uvacha, spoke. Saha, he. Bashpa viklavaha, his voice being choked up. Hrida, with his heart. Upaguhya, embracing. Amum, the Lord. Adat, he remained. Avastitaha, standing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The original king, Maharaj Prithu, his eyes full of tears and his voice faltering and choked up, could neither see the Lord very distinctly nor speak to address the Lord in any way. He simply embraced the Lord within his heart and remained standing in that way with folded hands. Purport. Just as Krishna is addressed in Brahma Samhita as Adipurusha, the original personality, so King Prithu, being an empowered incarnation of the Lord, is referred to in this verse as Adi Raja, the original or ideal king. He was a great devotee and at the same time a great hero who conquered over all undesirable elements in his kingdom. He was so powerful that he was equal in fighting to Indra, the king of heaven. He gave protection to his citizens, keeping them engaged in pious activities in devotion to the Lord. He did not collect a single cent of taxes from the citizens without being able to give them protection from all calamities. The greatest calamity in life is to become godless and therefore sinful. If the state head or king allows the citizens to become sinful by indulging in illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, then the king is responsible and he has to suffer the resultant sequence of reactions for the sinful lives of the citizens because he levies taxes on them unnecessarily. These are the principles for a ruling power, and because Maharaj Prithu observed all the principles for ruling chief, he is referred to here as Adi Raja. Even a responsible king like Maharaj Prithu can become a pure devotee of the first order. We can distinctly see from King Prithu's behavior how he became ecstatic both externally and internally in pure devotional service. Just today we have seen in the newspapers of Bombay that the government is going to repeal its prohibition laws. Ever since Gandhi's non-cooperation movement, Bombay has been kept dry and has not allowed its citizens to drink. But unfortunately, the citizens are so clever that they have increased illicit distillation of liquor, and although not being able to sold in public shops, liquor is being sold in public lavatories and similar abnormal places. Unable to sack such illicit smuggling, the government has decided to manufacture the liquor at cheaper prices so that the people can have their supply of intoxication directly from the government instead of purchasing it in public lavatories. The government failed to change the hearts of the citizens from indulging in sinful life. So instead of losing the taxes they collect to inflate the treasury, they have decided to manufacture liquor to supply the citizens who hanker after it. This kind of government cannot check the resultant actions of sinful life, namely war, pestilence, famine, earthquakes, and similar other disturbances. Nature's law is that as soon as there are discrepancies in regard to the law of God, which are described in Bhagavad Gita as dharmasya glani, or disobedience to the laws or nature of God, at once there will be heavy punishment in the form of sudden outbreaks of war. We have recently experienced a war between India and Pakistan. Within 14 days there have been immense losses of men and money, and there have been disturbances to the entire world. These are the reactions of sinful life. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to make people pure and perfect. If we become even partially pure, as described in the Bhagavatam, Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu, by development of Krishna consciousness, then lust and greed, the material diseases of the citizens, will be reduced. This can be made possible simply by broadcasting the pure message of Srimad Bhagavatam, or Krishna consciousness. Big commercial and industrial firms have contributed many thousands of rupees to a defense fund that burns the money in the form of gunpowder. But unfortunately, if they are asked to contribute liberally to advance the Krishna consciousness movement, they are reluctant. Under the circumstances, the world will periodically suffer from such upsurges and outbreaks of war, which are the consequences of not being Krishna conscious. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lata Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripre Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, here in this verse, in the purport, Prabhupada describes how Prithu Maharaj was an ideal king. I guess this whole section of Srimad Bhagavatam describes a perfect king and a perfect government. And Srila Prabhupada explains how if the government takes taxes but does not relieve the people from their sinful lives, they are very much responsible for the sinful reactions of the people in general. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Guru Nasasyat Svajani Guru Nasasat Sajanina Sasyat Pitana Sasyat Sajanina Sasyat Devanna Tatsyan Napatishta Sasyat Namocha Etsyan Samopetyam Rityu. One should not become a father, a mother, guru, relative, a worshipful demigod, or a king, proprietor, if he is not able to save his subordinates from the repeated birth and death. That is the duty of somebody who is a leader, or who has someone who is subordinate to them, right? Srila Prabhupada says even you should not even become a friend if you are not able to save someone from material life. So we see that here in the purport, Prabhupada also mentions how Bombay, during the Mahatma Gandhi's non-cooperation movement, was kept dry. There was no alcohol being sold or produced in Bombay. But people, because of the influence of Kali Yuga, they have found their own way how to produce and sell this liquor in the public lavatories. And we see that still going on today. But now it's not only liquor that is being sold, because that is pretty much normal behavior nowadays. I mean, drinking alcohol is very much socially acceptable. Now if you don't drink alcohol, then all of a sudden you are the one who is not normal. It's like, why are you not drinking alcohol? Is it because you had problems with domestic violence or something? You sort of have to explain why you don't drink alcohol. But if you don't drink water, everyone is like, oh yeah, that's okay. Nobody cares. Actually, if you drink water, they look at you like, okay, you're like trying to be healthy or something. You're on a diet, huh? They would rather give you at least juice, if not something stronger. So yes, alcohol has become the norm, the standard. So that means sinful activity has become a standard. But, okay, there are some substances which induce intoxication that are illegal, but people still buy them and take them. And it's still going on in also such abnormal places, as Prabhupada explained. I mean, the people were selling this liquor in the public lavatories, which is not so sattvic, we could say. Yes. And that is the influence of Kali Yuga. Kali is present where all these four regulative principles are being broken. And this is when Parikshit Maharaj, he was also a very powerful, a very, ideal king. When he went around his kingdom, he came across this man dressed as a king. But this man was torturing a bull. He was breaking bull's legs, and that bull was Dharma personified. And Parikshit Maharaj thought, how can you be dressed as a king but torture an innocent animal like a cow or a bull? The cow and the bull are considered to be our father and mother. The cow is one of our 7 mothers because she gives us her milk. And the bull, or Dharma, is our father because with the bull's help we can plow the fields and then sow the seed. Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Shri Gaura Hari ki jai, Shri Giri Govardhan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So with bull's help we can plow the fields and then sow the seeds, and then the grain is produced. So the cow and the bull are our father and mother, our parents. And what kind of misfortune comes from from torturing your own mother or your own father. When you do that, then there can be no happiness in our lives. And we see nowadays this slaughter is being increased by the day. We were just last week in Swaziland or Eswatini, and we tried to do Harinam on the street, but we were stopped immediately, like 5 minutes in, because there was some political unrest some time ago. So now they stop everyone who seems like they could gather a large group of people, and then maybe they become a threat. So they stopped us immediately, and they wanted to take us to the municipality to sort of figure out what we are doing and how can we, if we can continue also. So then they were, but they were more curious than anything else. They were not. We were quite interesting because nothing like that ever happens there in Manzini. So they were asking us what are we preaching, or what is our mission, and this and that. And we were saying, we are Hare Krishnas, we sing this song, and we are vegetarian, we don't eat meat, and this and that. And they were like, what? You don't eat meat? And then they could believe that I don't eat meat and that he doesn't eat meat. But we had with us Savyasachi also and Premananda Nitai, who are both of the African body. And they were looking at them, so he is also vegetarian? And we say, yes, he also does not eat meat. And they said, nah, we cannot believe this. He definitely eats meat. This is not possible. Yes. So it is inconceivable for people that we don't eat meat or anything like that. And then actually Savyasachi explained that to them, that even in traditional sense, this killing of the animals was not so prominent. It was not always you just will kill the animal and you just eat the flesh. Actually, even if you have a normal meal, the meat is just like the side dish, is not like the main thing, you don't just eat meat, you still have vegetables and all that kind of stuff. But now people are so indoctrinated into this meat eating and everything that they just, this is again a normal activity to just slaughter a cow. So Maharaj Parikshit, he became extremely angry at this pretender king that was torturing a bull, and he got off his chariot and was ready to kill Kali. He was ready to finish him right there and then, because he was a threat of spreading adharma or sinful activities throughout his whole kingdom. And that is the sign of an ideal king, that he immediately just goes and cuts out all the possibility of this disease of sinful activity in his kingdom. Just like an expert surgeon operates, the body of some disease like cancer, cut it out so that it does not spread across the whole body and poison the body in that way. So Maharaj Parikshit, because he was very powerful, he overpowered Kali immediately. But Kali just then started acting like a coward. He was not acting like a great Kshatriya king, but he acted like a coward, and he started begging for his life. So then, by the Kshatriya code, Maharaj Parikshit could not kill Kali. And then Kali surrendered to Maharaj Parikshit and asked him, you are the king, and you are supposed to protect all the praja in your kingdom. So anything that takes birth in your kingdom, you're supposed to protect and give them a place to live. And so now he surrendered to King Parikshit in such a way that now I am one of your citizens, I am one of your subjects. So now you have to protect me also. You cannot kill me now. So Maharaj Parikshit says, all right, so I will not kill you, but you cannot stay in my kingdom. But then Kali said, but your kingdom is the whole world. Where will I go? Wherever I will go, I will see your flag chasing me, because then I will still be in your kingdom. So Maharaj Parikshit said, all right, you can stay wherever there is eating of meat, wherever there is illicit sex going on, wherever there is gambling going on, and wherever there is intoxication. And at that time, there was no such place in the kingdom of Parikshit Maharaj. So Kali was again, in distress, where to stay. And then Parikshit Maharaj gave him the final concession that he can stay wherever there is gold. Wherever there is storage of gold, there Kali also resides. So in this way he snuck in to the kingdom of Parikshit Maharaj. Yes, and we can see that all these four sinful activities are the residing places of Kali. And Srila Prabhupada, he is the first acharya to establish these vows to take at the initiation, to vow that we will follow these four regulative principles, actually. Before him, there was no one who actually demanded from his disciples to actually promise these four regulative principles. And he took it from this Srimad Bhagavatam, from the story of Parikshit Maharaj and Kali. And in this way, Srila Prabhupada has made us safe from the influence of the sinful activity. And he also follows in this way the ideal path of someone who is trying to save his subordinates from this material life or the sinful activities of the people. And then Srila Prabhupada goes on to explain how when people are so engaged in these sinful activities and the government still levies taxes from them, the government also gets reactions from these sinful activities. And from that reactions, sudden outbreaks of war will happen, and people will suffer and governments will suffer and everybody will just be suffering. And we can see, just now, 2 years ago, the outbreak of the Ukrainian war started, and then now we have this Israel conflict. And this is all the reactions to the sinful activities being accumulated by the mass of people. And the government supporting those kind of activities. Then we have all these kind of outbreaks of war, famine, and diseases like the coronavirus, even though we can understand that this is also part of the plan of the government to get more money from the people. And Srila Prabhupada said that actually Krishna had there was a plan, in the schedule of the universe that there should have been an outbreak of the World War III already, but because of the Harinam Sankirtan, or the spread of Krishna consciousness movement, Krishna changed his mind. That's what Prabhupada said, so that he could spread this movement. And yeah, we can see, so many sinful activities going on, but actually not so many reactions. It's not so bad yet. If we think about it, we can still go out and chant Hare Krishna on the streets, mostly without impediment. Sometimes some people try to stop us, but they cannot stop us. They cannot. They can never stop the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is explained in, what is it, Chaitanya Chandradvaya Nataka, that actually Kali had a conversation with sin personified when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world. And Kali was saying how he has no chance now against this Harinam Sankirtan that was established by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has no chance against it. He has already lost. And sin personified was saying, no, but we can sort of get into their heads, we can make them proud, we can somehow or other, we have to stop this, why are you giving up already? And and Kali said, no, this is this is not possible. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and whatever the Lord wants, I cannot go against. But that does not mean that Kali will not try to catch everybody else. Kali works extra hours. He works overtime to keep us all bound up in these four sinful activities, and in such a way he can keep control over us. And also, he cannot touch us in this movement if we follow these four negative principles. But as Prabhupada said, Maya will walk through the front door of our temples. And it is not that we will be, somehow rather fighting this material energy, and all of a sudden through the back door Maya will sort of come in. No, Maya will come straight in, front door. And if we are not careful, we will think, oh yes, this is some how to say, innovative way of preaching Krishna consciousness. And we will think, yes, actually this is much better. And we will think, yeah, maybe, we should not be so fanatic. We should not go out on the streets in our, devotional clothes with tilak, and we should actually not disturb people by our chanting of the holy names on the streets, Let's just stay inside, chant Hare Krishna amongst the devotees, for the deities. It's very nice, Radharani are so beautiful. Hari is chanting, is dancing ecstatically on the altar. We can just, stay inside and have an ecstatic kirtan. That's very nice. But the mission of Lord Chaitanya is not to just stay inside. The mission of Lord Chaitanya is to flood the whole world, every single person, with this ecstatic love of the Harinam Sankirtan. He wants to make everybody mad in chanting and dancing in ecstatic love for Krishna. And it is said that he was successful when he came to this material world. And he flooded everyone. But there were a few who were swimming still, and those were the Mayavadis. The Mayavadis, they were swimming on the surface of this flood of love of Godhead. So then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was thinking, how could I drown them as well? How can I make them also drink this nectar of love of Godhead? So he decided that he will take sannyas, so that at least they will bow down to him, because those days sannyasis were very much respected. Not like nowadays, everybody is going for the Swami blood. They want to tear them down because, actually, I should take their position. Who are they to take all the money and all the resources for preaching Krishna consciousness? Who do they think they are? They should be renounced. But, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Yukta Vairagya. We should take everything that we get and use it in loving devotional service for Krishna. That is real Vairagya or renunciation. It is not that we renounce something that is not ours. Nothing is ours anyway. If I renounce this table, you would look at me like, so what? This table was never yours to begin with, so all right, you renounced it. Nothing impressive. If I would claim this table, everybody would be in an uproar. Oh, you are stealing this table, what are you doing? So this is, the position of the people in this world. They're trying to steal from Krishna. But if I use this table, for putting Srimad Bhagavatam on top of it, or in service of Krishna, then this is very nice. So in this way, even the sannyasis or whoever, they're still traveling tirelessly, and they're just sacrificing their whole life for spreading this Krishna consciousness. They are in the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They're revolutionaries. They're very much revolutionary. And yes, Srila Prabhupada says that the spreading of Krishna consciousness is actually a very thankless task, because people will criticize, people will not be very much happy, because you are disturbing them in their attempt to enjoy this material world. And now you come with this Krishna consciousness and you tell them nothing is yours, everything is Krishna's property. And we are in this world because we want to enjoy like Krishna. We want to be Krishna. We don't want Krishna to be God. We want ourselves to be Krishna, or to be at least on the equal footing as Krishna. So then we see these preachers coming, and now they tell us, don't try to gratify your own senses, but you have to try and satisfy the senses of Krishna. And that is very disturbing to the general mass of people. Yes, because as we see in this purport, everybody wants to engage in sinful activities. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas. And the Mayavadis, they at least all had respect for a sannyasi. So they would bow down to him. And by bowing down, they would bow down to the Supreme Lord. And in that way, they will be very much benefited. He went to Varanasi and he was invited to take lunch with Prakashananda Saraswati. And he did not come there trying to present himself as some, as an incarnation of God or something. Because that is anyway the business of Mayavadi sannyasi. They all, addressed each other as Vishnu. They all are saying you are Brahman, you are actually the Supreme Lord. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took a different approach to preaching to the Mayavadi sannyasis. He came there and he assumed a very humble position by sitting in a very lowly place, or at the place where they used to wash each other's feet. And he exhibited extreme beauty. So then all the Mayavadi sannyasis were very much impressed by this young, beautiful sannyasi. They were thinking, wow, he is shining very much. He actually displayed his effulgence. And they were struck with wonder and this desire, to make him sit with them awakened in their heart. So they asked him, please, why are you sitting in this dirty place? where we wash our feet. Please come sit with us. And in such a way, they rendered some devotional service to the Lord, and their heart opened to receive the knowledge which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would speak to them. And it is said that actually these Mayavadis, Mayavadi Krishna Paradi, they were doing so many offenses to Krishna that they were not even able to utter the name of Krishna. So we can see that we are very much fortunate that we can chant the holy name of the Lord. It is said that just by chanting the holy name of the Lord, it is to be understood that somebody has already performed all the austerities and all the sacrifices that you need to perform in order to attain salvation or to attain mukti. Yes, so we see that if we just stay here and just do kirtan for ourselves, this is actually a very selfish endeavor. And we don't challenge Kali at all. Kali just contains us nicely in these temples. All right, you can have your temples and you can do your own thing there, and I will do my thing outside. Sometimes he does his thing also on the inside. We see many of these kirtan melas, and who knows what's going on there. Young boys and girls look at each other, and then there is no place for a brahmachari to go to these kirtan melas. Yeah, what to do? Anyway, so we do not challenge Kali in such a way. But if we go outside, then Kali is very much challenged, because we make everybody at least hear the holy name of the Lord, and we also make them chant, and we make them dance. And then their whole material life is finished. They might not know it, but their material life is definitely finished already. Yes. So, yes, in this way, the sinful activities will always be going on, especially in this age of Kali, which is the time where demonic and saintly people are not living on separate planets. They're not living on separate continents or separate countries. Now, in this Kali Yuga, this demoniac and divine nature is residing in the same person. So this is now always a clash between these two natures in everyone. And there is a nice example given by His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami of how we have a good dog and a bad dog. And they are always fighting who will get more food. And the one that we will feed the most, that one will become stronger and stronger and stronger, and will bark louder and louder and louder. And then, now we have been feeding our bad dog for lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes, And, now trying to feed the good dog is quite difficult, this demoniac nature is just barking so strongly that sometimes, we think, all right, if I don't feed him, he will break off his chain, But if we take shelter of our spiritual master, if we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, then even if that bad dog breaks off his chain, spiritual master will tame him, he will just, with one blow, he will just kick him away. And Srila Prabhupada promises us that if we surrender to Krishna, this whole material existence, which is very difficult to overcome, will be shrunk into the water contained in a hoof print of a calf. And it is said that if we step on the shore of this ocean of material existence, if we step into the boat of devotional service, as soon as we step into that boat, the size of this vast ocean just shrinks, and then we can just step over with no problems. And then the boat stays on this shore for other people to also step in. So the boat never actually needs to go anywhere, because as soon as we step in, we have already achieved the desired success. But yes, and then there is another trick which we have to be careful about, and we say this every morning after Mangalarati, and those are the 10 offenses. And only these 10 offenses, they can actually hold us back from advancing in our spiritual life. And it is said, it is explained in Madhurya Kadambini by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It is explained that, the holy name is always fully potent. Just like you have a very rich landlord or a very rich master. And this very rich master, he has many servants. But there is this one servant who is just extremely offensive to this master, and he's extremely rude to the master. So the master naturally does not feel inclined to give anything to this impudent servant. The master is displeased, and he takes away all his mercy. He takes away all his riches from this servant. So this servant is serving a very rich master, but the servant is very poor. And it's not that the master has lost his potency now, that the servant is not getting anything. It's the servant who is not, in line, and who is displeasing the master. So in the same way, the holy name just withdraws his mercy. We try to chant Hare Krishna, and we sometimes think, I've been chanting Hare Krishna for 20 years and I don't feel anything, this does not work. We try to force the holy name, you have to give me, I've been serving you for 20 years, you're not giving anything. We still have this tendency of being a master. And then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in this book Madhurya Kadambini, he's like really good because he's exposing everyone. He wrote this book 200 years ago, but he's like reading about yourself right now, He says, when the devotee is a bit advanced, he starts to realize how he used to chant japa, and he was very happy to interrupt his japa just to gossip about other Vaishnavas. And then we can say, but I didn't commit any offenses for a very long time. I cannot remember when was the last offense I have committed. And then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, yes, you might not have committed an offense right now, but you have committed many offenses in the past. So this is still lingering on. And in this way, you are not getting the full result of the holy name. Because if we are pure, if we don't have any reactions of these offenses, then just by once uttering the holy name, we would fall into ecstasy and our heart will melt. But we can see our heart is still very hard, even though we chant the holy names every day for at least 2 hours, chanting 16 rounds. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Fall asleep. Yes. So we have to guard against these 10 offenses. And then, Srila Prabhupada guarantees us, if we chant 16 rounds, follow these 4 regulative principles, then we will go back to Godhead in this very lifetime. And we don't need to fear, because Srila Prabhupada has promised us. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Any questions, any comments? Yes, Rukmini. Yes. 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 Well, to gain the qualification to chant the holy name, you are you have to perform all these sacrifices, right? But then Srila Prabhupada said that you were not qualified to receive this mercy. I made your qualification. So it is on the strength of Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara that we can chant the holy name and that we can make others also chant the holy name. That is our only hope. It is not that we have done anything special. We were just extremely fortunate to receive this mercy of Srila Prabhupada. At the right place, we were at the right place at the right time, and somehow or other some desire to chant Hare Krishna awakened in our hearts by the mercy of Prabhupada. I don't think any of us have performed all these sacrifices. I mean, they're not even possible now in this age. Because for all these sacrifices, you have to, every syllable has to be pronounced in the right way. And, we have the example of Vritrasura, who was supposed to be the enemy of Indra, but because of the mispronunciation, Indra was his enemy, and Indra killed him. So yes, that is now in this age we can't pronounce anything. I mean, we even have trouble just, one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't think I pronounced it properly. So, we can't even pronounce English, and it's not even spiritual language. Yes. Anything else? Yes. 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 If you kill your own mother, yeah. Yes. Yeah, I mean, if you hurt your own mother, what is your position? The mother has, given everything for you, and then it is actually said that, mother's love for her child is the closest you can get to actual selfless love in this material world. So then you turn around and you mercilessly just slaughter your mother. It's like so many psychological problems because of that as well. And obviously war will outbreak and everything. Yeah. But we can help these cows, because we don't know what these cows did also in their previous lives to deserve this kind of treatment. So we can help them by offering their milk to Krishna, and in this way we just break this cycle of karma, of them having to suffer perpetually this kind of horrible fate. Yes. Anything else? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanand.